Hello. Hey. I'm here to continue my Stranger Things discourse from yesterday. So, yesterday was the 28th. I talked about my predictions for Volume 2, and it's the 29th. I have already watched it. I watched episode 5 yesterday, and I watched episode 6 and 7. 6, 7! I watched episode 6 and 7 today, and here are my thoughts. I'm gonna keep this nice and brief because I don't have like detailed opinions, and maybe I might give my predictions for it's not coming out tomorrow, it's coming out on Wednesday. Yeah, of the final episode. Yeah. My biggest problem, oh, first up, I'll start by saying, did I like or did I not like Volume 2? I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it, but I feel like, in a way, it's just because slowly but surely, as the show has been progressing, especially from season 3, I think we have started getting used to lower quality Stranger Things as compared to season 1 and 2, which were peak Stranger Things, and I will always stand on that hill. Season 1 and 2 are the goated seasons, and I will never forgive you people for saying that season 2 was bad. People who were saying that season 2 was pointless, especially the episode when Eleven went and found Callie and found someone else with powers just like her. I will never forgive you guys for saying that season 3 was bad. I mean season 2. Season 2 is goated. Dare I say the best. Okay, not more than season 1. Season 1 is like, come on, like who doesn't like season 1? Like if you don't like season 1, how are you still watching the show? Anyway, yeah. I feel like since season 3 we've just kind of been conditioned to expecting the bare minimum from this show, which is unfortunate, but yeah. Did I say 2 or 3? I meant 3. Whatever I said, I meant 3. Anyway, yeah. But I think definitely a majority of it has to do with the Netflix greed. Netflix is greedy and they're trying to milk as much opportunities, as much monetary opportunities as they can from Stranger Things. And I feel like it's affecting a lot of the creative decisions that are being made for the show that are not good for the creative process or good for the storyline and for the plot and just for the show itself, like the plot of the show, and are just more better, are benefiting the people who are going to be making money for all of this. Like, that's, I think, who. I think that's kind of the main reason why a lot of the decisions that are being made, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I am gonna put a screenshot over here of a video that I just watched on TikTok of someone just ranting about Volume 2, and apparently, I mentioned this in yesterday's video, but apparently, so I mentioned how I want to see how I would like to see get a deep dive into Henry's memories that we got a glimpse of from Max and him apparently going to school at the same time as Joyce and Hopper. I don't know if I mentioned this in the video. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't remember mentioning it, but yes, I was very, very intrigued. I really wanted to see how that storyline would play out. The fact that he was literally in a play with Joyce and like was it Steve's dad or something like that, like one of the main characters' parents, which I feel like is crazy. And the older kids, specifically the older kids' parents, like he was in school at the same time as their parents, which means Henry is old. He's like canonically old, which is crazy. He doesn't look it. Sorry. Every time I get a chance to just talk about how handsome he is, I will. Shoot me, shoot me, shoot me. Anyway, yeah. I even lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. Okay, anyway, yeah. But I really wanted to see how that would play out. So yeah, that leads me back to this TikTok that I was talking about. Apparently, they had a Broadway show or like a play. I don't know if it's a Broadway show or a play. I don't remember his exact words, but a play called Stranger Things: The First Shadow, where they dove into that whole lore. So for you to actually understand what is fully happening in Henry's memories. If you look back at all the memories that Holly and Max had to go through, like Henry's memories, that is explained in that play. Why hasn't this been made known to the general public? Like, you have to be deep into the Stranger Things fandom to know this. Not only that, but to go and watch the show, right? Oh, sorry, an alarm went off. That's kind of scary. You have to be deep into the fandom to know this stuff. Why didn't they make this public? Or like, or like just dive into that in the show. But of course they can't do that. They're not going to do that because they want to milk as much money as they can from Stranger Things. They're dragging it out as much as they can to make as much money as they can. And I just feel like that is just, I don't know. It's just so annoying. I really was excited to see how we were gonna see the relationship between Joyce, because I mean Joyce was there, right? Joyce, and just like the parents who apparently are the same age as Henry. Why don't we get more of that? I feel like it's annoying. I really wish they did that in the show. I wish I knew about the play. I mean, I can't go see it because I don't live in America, but like, still, I would have found a way to watch it. I don't know, pirating. Okay, sorry, I had to pause recording for quite a while and I don't remember what I was talking about. But I believe I was talking about the play and why it wasn't made, and asking why it wasn't made accessible to the public or like the average Stranger Things fan. Anyway, yeah, that's annoying. I would have really loved to see how that plot developed, but anyway, I'll try and find if I can watch the play somewhere or at least read what it was about. But yeah, that's annoying. Also, apparently they're making like a cartoon version of Stranger Things. I don't know if it's going to build onto the same story or what. I don't know, but again, they just can't let go of this show. They can't let go of how much money it's gonna bring them. Like, come on now. And then my other problem with this, with volume 2, and also just season 5 in general, but like I'm just gonna say volume 2 because it's the most recent one, but is I feel like they have lost the plot. I feel like there is a much bigger focus on the characters and their storylines and just like leaving each character with a happy ending rather than actually making a good plot and ending it on a satisfying note. There is, and here's the thing about like, I feel like when it comes to film and TV shows and stuff like that, there are like there are like two main types concerning plot and characters. There's some that are more character heavy and character based, like, sorry guys, I had to take another break. I'm currently at my cousin's house because we usually have like annual sleepover for the week in between Christmas and New Year's to kind of just like celebrate and cross over to New Year together. It's usually lots of fun. Anyway, as I was saying, when it comes to shows, when it comes to plot and character, there's certain genres where you need to focus more on the characters and certain where you focus more on the plot. For example, let's take a show like Victorious. That's a show that I personally really like to use as an example for this because I think it is perfect. I think it does this perfectly. I hate that it's a Nickelodeon show. I hate that it's Dan Schneider. But anyway, I feel like that's a show that focuses heavily on the characters and not the plot. Because if you were to ask someone what's Victorious about, you would say it's about six friends or it's about these people in high school. Again, you can't give the plot of Victorious without talking about the characters. Like the people are literally what make Victorious Victorious. Their characters, their personalities and their characters and how they blend together and how they interact every single day and the new challenges that they face. That's where the tea is. That's where the real tea is. And it works because Victorious is a comedy show. So I feel like this type of thing works with like comedy, maybe even romance. And I think, I want to say reality TV, but reality TV is not scripted, at least not extremely, so that doesn't really count. But again, those are examples where the characters and the people matter more, and you try to prioritize having characters or people on the show who make it better and make fans interact with it more. Stranger Things is a sci-fi show. Sci-fi thriller. Some people might say horror. I don't think Stranger Things is a horror at all. But that alone means that it is what am I looking for? The plot. The plot is the most important thing. There needs to be a consistent plot. There needs to be in a well thought out storyline that is what makes a sci-fi or a thriller or a horror or a, what other genres can fit there? Action even. But action can take advantage of both. The people can also make it quite interesting. I mean, the characters, sorry. But yeah. And I feel like when it comes to Stranger Things, they have sort of lost the plot and are kind of putting a bigger focus on the characters. And I feel like I don't really like it. I as much as it sounds crazy to say, I want to see more deaths in Stranger Things because it'll actually show that they are making decisions that make sense for the plot and not for, oh, we need to keep people watching, so we need to keep the characters that people like alive. You know what I mean? I feel like here's the thing. When it comes to pop culture, and guys, I'm speaking as someone who just indulges in a lot of pop culture. I'm not a professional, I'm not an anthropologist or a sociologist or anything like that, so take what I say with a pinch of salt. But when it comes to pop culture, the shows, the music, the movies, all the things that trend in like popular culture, wow, I cannot speak, pop culture, are things that have to do with people. You know, talking about celebrities' lives and what's the newest tea with this and that celebrity and this person is dating who and all that kind of stuff. That's what usually trends in pop culture, right? And and when you look at the type of shows that trend in pop culture, they are usually things like reality TV, like I mentioned earlier, reality TV, which has a big focus on the people. The people is what make the show interesting. Without interesting people, the plot enough is not good enough. The plot alone is not good enough to stand and make good bank and keep, what's the word, renewing for new seasons, right? So yeah. And also, what other genre? And also, if we look at popular movies, popular shows, they're usually romance, drama, or anything adjacent, or comedy even. So that is usually what trends among the masses. Why? Because it's more interesting to talk about the characters than the plot. I feel like talking about plots can get a little bit nerdy because you start to get a bit technical and stuff like that. And the general public and most people who are just trying to watch a show don't really care for that. They don't want to do too much thinking when they're watching a show. And that's why I think it's definitely easier to make a show and just make sure that there's some interesting, relatable, funny characters or iconic characters. That's definitely something more interesting to do. And I feel like, unfortunately, when it comes to Netflix, a lot of Netflix shows are definitely like to follow that formula of just focusing more on character based shows and movies over like an actual solid plot. A lot of the time the plots are really predictable. It's really nothing crazy. But the characters are interesting, it gets people talking, and that's what people want. If you take a show like Ginny and Georgia, the reason why a show like that can keep getting renewed, even though people don't like it, is because you guys are talking about these. You're talking about it. You're constantly talking about it. You're talking about how much you hate Ginny, how she's so annoying, how Maxine is so annoying, how who and who is so annoying. But you're talking about it. That's the thing, because it's all about having characters that entice drama. It is so much easier to have characters that entice drama than writing something for drama. Then again, that has to. Does that make sense? I hope I make sense. Like I said, this is not coming from a professional angle or someone who's done some serious analytics. I'm literally just speaking from the heart right now. All I have is myself. I'm just sitting here on a beanbag in the corner of my room and my phone that's recording my audio, literally. So take this with a pinch of salt. But I feel like Netflix is trying to do the same thing with Stranger Things, where it's like we're prioritizing the characters and their storylines more than the actual plot of the show, and now it just feels like one big drama instead of a thriller, instead of a horror. Because dramas and thrillers are not the same thing. They really aren't. Where it divides them is between the plot or the characters. Who is playing the bigger role? The plot, the story, or the characters and their lives? And I feel like Netflix is making Stranger Things a drama. And that's why they have quite literally lost the plot. And it's a bit annoying. I don't want that. That's why I'm saying let's go back to season 1 and season 2. Like, whatever they had going on there, that was great. There was something solid. And not just that, but I feel like the entire ambience of the show was even better back then. Like, I loved the lighting back then. I remember a friend of mine, we were talking about the show and she was telling me how she feels like it's too bright now. And at first I didn't get what she meant, but now that I'm looking back, I've been looking back at edits and videos about season 1 and 2. I'm like, wait, actually I see it. It's so bright now. Everything is so bright and it's just too that's a smaller thing. I feel like that doesn't really have any substance to this conversation, but still, it just, there's so much that has changed, and it's not changed for the better, and I don't like that. I don't know why they're doing this. I don't know why they're making this decision. Actually, I do know why. I just said it. It's the greed. They need something that's going to keep people talking for an even longer time. And unfortunately, a story with more drama, that's more interesting. It's more interesting to have that. Romance should be a subplot. And I mean a teeny tiny, you should be having teeny tiny droplets of romance, because this is not a romance, or this is not a drama, this is not a teen drama, this is sci-fi. And when you try to make a sci-fi show some kind of teen drama, the sci-fi part just looks ridiculous, and it looks like some budget ass movie with horrible, it just looks like magic. Like, it's like, okay, like, let's say that it looks like Henry Danger. I'm sorry, I don't know if you guys have ever watched the Henry Danger episodes that were called Danger Games, something like that. What they call Danger Games or something like that, or Danger Things. I can't remember. But basically, Henry Danger made a two episodes that were like inspired by Stranger Things. It was very interesting. I feel like you should definitely go look them up somewhere and watch them. They were kind of funny to watch. But that's what Stranger Things feels like right now. And that was all the way back in 2018. But unfortunately, now in 2025, Stranger Things literally feels like that. It feels like an episode of a Nickelodeon show. Like, with all due respect, with the budget of a sci-fi movie, definitely, but the way it's just being written, the way it's being carried out, it feels like a teen drama show. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm just not a fan. They have quite literally lost the plot, and I'm just kind of disappointed. I'm kind of disappointed because this show had so much potential. I'm actually planning on rewatching season 1 and 2 just to kind of get myself. I don't know. I just want to kind of go back for nostalgia's sake, just why not? I feel like it'd be interesting to see how much it has changed. But yeah, I know the Duffer Brothers have been saying up and down in interviews that this was their original plan for the show, and that they got the 5 seasons. They always wanted 5 seasons. Do I believe that they always wanted 5 seasons? I'm not sure about that one, but if that's possible, maybe that's true. But I feel like 5 seasons is too much. I feel like 3 would be good enough for Stranger Things. But I don't believe that this is what they always wanted. I don't believe it for 1 second. I don't believe that Vecna was originally in the story. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I don't know. I just don't believe it. Maybe they found a way to make it work, these D&D parallels, but I don't believe that this is what they originally from the beginning wanted for the show. I don't believe that this is the vision they had for the show. And I don't know, which is why I'm not saying anything about the writers or them or the creators or anyone who's involved in the creative process, just because I feel like there's a lot of murky details that we will never get to actually fully know the extent of, because, murky details that are affecting the decisions that they're making with the story and with the actual show itself and the production and the creation of the show. But yeah. Anyway, Stranger Things was fun when it lasted. I'm really glad that at least we got to grow up with this amazing cast, because I really love the cast of Stranger Things so much. I don't think they could have chosen a better cast, especially the main six. Like, the main people that I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. Finn, Gaden, Caleb, Noah, Millie, and Sadie. I feel like it couldn't have been more perfect. It's been so fun to go up with them, but like, it's so sad to see how like weak the plot has been getting since like season 3. Like, dare I say, since season 3. Season 3 wasn't too bad, but definitely, like I said, the shift, you could just feel the shift in the air. Like, something changed. Something changed, and it was not, I didn't like it. I didn't really like it. It became too drama-y, and like, I don't know. Anyway. Yep, that is Stranger Things. What are my predictions for the finale? I feel like some of the things that I said still stand. Well, oh my god, first of all, Jonathan and Nancy broke up. I found out on TikTok that scene was a breakup scene. I watched it and I was like, oh, okay, so they're engaged, yay. But Nancy, you need to pick up your ring. Because remember at the end of that scene, the ring falls and she doesn't really pick it up. I was like, okay, Nancy, pick up your ring, girl, and put it on your finger like you're engaged. Someone on TikTok said it was a breakup scene. I was like, Oh, that's why they were saying like unmarry and unproposal. I thought they were saying that because they thought they were going to die anyway, so it didn't matter, but they're still engaged. No, 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 no. That was them breaking up. What the hell? What was even the point? Why did they break up? Like, what's happening here, guys? Jancy. Y'all broke up Jancy towards the end. Girl. Anyway, I feel like what I predicted in my volume 2 predictions still stands because honestly not much happened in volume 2, like not much. Will dying, I'm definitely starting to think that's gonna happen a bit less just because like I said, I generally don't know what could possibly happen in this show. Like so little has happened in 3 episodes. So much more could have happened, yet nothing happened at all. That I just don't know. I don't know. I feel like everyone is just gonna get like, oh, happy ending, happy ending. If there's gonna be one death, it's gonna be like a pretty big character. I definitely think there's going to be one pretty big death, that's for sure. But other than that, I just don't think that this is going anywhere crazy. I'm just gonna let whatever I predicted in yesterday's video stand, but I don't think anything crazy is gonna happen because literally nothing happened in volume 2, like nothing that insane. Like they could have literally dropped all of those episodes on one day plus the finale. We would have been fine with that. So yeah, that is it for my Stranger Things talk. Maybe I'll make another one after the finale. I don't know. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Because I actually do have so much fun talking about Stranger Things because I love Stranger Things. I have been watching it since 2016 when it came out. Yep, I'm an OG fan like that, and I was like 9 years old. Yeah, I was like 9, which is crazy, and I've been watching the show since I was 9, and now I'm 18. So that's how long this thing has been going on. It's insane. Anyway, comment if you agree with any of my thoughts, and I will see you after the finale. They broke Jancy up. Like, who does that? Like,